Jess, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you undetected.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I, too, am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave. Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Who are the clowns and the jokers? I feel like the clowns right now are the conservatives just straight up having a civil war. And the jokers are the incels on the internet that I managed to unearth and get all riled up again. And here we are, you know, rising from the ashes like Teen Vogue won't. Okay, guys, the world is falling apart. The men, the conservatives, you know, New York City, the capitalist epicenter of the world, gone socialist. Like everything is just falling apart. And here we are. You can get in right in, just tuck right in here, right in the bosom, you know, for some sensibility, of course, and comfort, you know, and reason. So where do I begin, everybody? I may look refreshed, by the way. Don't be fooled because I am blonde again and I no longer look like a sewer rat in Mom Dami's like socialist grocery store crawling out of the moldy spinach. But do not be fooled by the new blonde hair because I'm still brain dead. Okay. Like taking in this world, how could we not be? So first things first, while this episode is going to be about everything falling apart, we have more optimism than that, soldiers. Am I right? Lady soldiers, male soldiers. I'm sorry, David Goxine, that you let me on the air tonight because truly I fucking don't give a fuck anymore. Did you guys see my new reel? That song is a masterpiece. It is catchy. I have it stuck in my head. Anyway, I'm a little delulu. It is fucking daylight saving. So twilight is starting at like 3 p.m. Like our internal clocks are not okay. And so here we are. But the world is falling apart. Okay. And where I'm going to take all of this in the end is as we sort through it in our little corner on the web that is much as deranged as we are much more coherent than the ramblings of the likes of Candace Owens and co, right? We're going to get to that. But really about picking our battles because the internet makes it feel like it is everything everywhere all at once. We cannot escape it, you know? You know, almost like your mom asking you why you're not making more money or your dad asking, why are you posting those bikini shots? Like it is like up your ass and you're like, let me be internet, but it feels so real, right? Like even looking at the incels of it all, which we're going to get to, like how real is this? Is it bots? Like it's starting to feel all one, like the Matrix come to fucking life. And guess what? It's going to get even more batshit crazy with AI when we're really not going to know what the fuck is up. So today I'm going to bring it all back in the end. You know, you talk about a civil war and I say like armor up because when do you know how to pick your battles and how to not? Because if you pick every battle, you're just going to be crazy giving straitjacket vibes like I am right now in this episode. So kind of discerning and knowing when to fight the fight, you know, when to have skin in the game, a dog in the race. And also kind of the swagger of watching everybody, like almost giving Mean Girls, like it's like you're the Regina George watching everybody tear each other's hair out in the chaos, like almost above it all. And just watching all of them like be little peasants and sort it out, you know, like almost like the Hunger Games. Like, is there something also to just being above it all and not even giving it more life or oxygen? You know what I'm saying? We're going to get to that. So first things first is Teen Vogue, okay, who is oxygen deprived. Like they're not going to make it. They're not, the heart monitor is not looking good. So Teen Vogue officially basically is no more. They have now gone into like dissolved into Vogue. I don't even know what that means. Basically, it's crazy because I have been talking about this for years and you may be watching this going like, what does Teen Vogue have to do with my life? But it is such an indicator of the swing of events and the turn of the tide, because we'll talk about like Sydney Sweeney and the conservative civil war and all these things. But I have been on the inside. I used to cover the Teen Vogue summits in LA some odd, like, I don't know, 7-ish years ago. And I would be like, Teen Vogue, hence the teenagers, who is their demo? And like, why are they promoting butt plugs and rainbow and BLM stickers? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I remember covering the Teen Vogue Summit one year, and I have the receipts. And I think, you know, what's so funny, guys? Hillary Clinton spoke at the one that I went to. And because I worked for woke, like a feminist outlet called Bustle, I, against my will, okay, anything for the paycheck for a struggling journalist in LA at the time. This was before you could jiggle your ass and tits on TikTok and OnlyFans and make a buck, okay? But like, also, what is my excuse now for still not doing that? But I digress. I wrote a piece from that about Hillary Clinton. Like, here's what she said about being a woman in the workforce. I read it to you guys recently on the show. But either way, I remember at the time, because I was always awake and I was always, you know, rage against the machine. And I was like, what are you okay? And I remember at the timing, like Teen Vogue, like it should be, you know, to inspire the youth. And I was like, this shit is straight depressing. Like they are talking about marginalized this and oppression that and civil rights. I'm like, let them fucking braid their hair and worry about the rubber band color on their braces, for crying out loud. Like maybe the most risque is like figuring out your cup size for after graduating from limited 2, okay? But, and I, again, called it out then, but Teen Vogue went on to be Teen Vogue and like straight up hired an army of far left women who haven't shaved their armpits since 1972 and hate all men, like living, breathing species on the planet, okay? And it shows, sweetie. So, like, truly, the articles. Okay, I think also Teen Vogue profiled Elon Musk's trans daughter, who has just gone totally rogue against him and has spoken out about it, but like showcasing her as this big hero. Like, you get the idea, okay? You're picking up what they're putting down, but actually not so much anymore because they're straight out of pub. They're straight out of publication. And when I first launched my show, Cancel Me Baby, I actually had it'd be funny to have these two on again, but I had a red carpet reporter, journalist, liberal mom, and a prominent conservative mom on the show on the heels of, and to discuss a Teen Vogue article. I shit you not, shit is a little too on the nose for this. Like a guide to have a guide to have anal sex. Okay. I'm like, bro, I'm 34 and I don't want to know. Like, chill. So I had to do research. I was like, what is the teen and Teen Vogue giving? Like, what is actually the core audience of this demo? So you guys get it, right? And you know what you're gonna get. Like, if you go to anybody who writes for Teen Vogue and like go to their profiles, like it is all the stereotypes, all the cliches. They are out there. They literally, the they thems are out there and ready to be seen. The watermelon emojis, the free Palestine, like the cis, non-cis, like you name it, it's all right there. And what's even more though is that like we all saw this coming. And what's even more though is how the people who really built this up and who were part of this are now like, they're like, this is just devastating, like as if it's an actual, like how you think they would react to somebody getting executed violently in cold blood in front of their eyes. No, it's like the violent execution of Teen Vogue that cannot be resurrected. Like it is just, you know, the nail in the coffin. And so I don't know, ladies and theys, like the virtue signaling, the social justice warrior, the keyboard warriors of it all. I think we're turning the page. That is no longer Teen Vogue on that, you know, it's the turn of the tide and surf's up. And so with that said, is Sydney Sweeney and her viral interview with GQ and all this. Okay, I'm not gonna get, I don't know how real that you guys want me to get, because I can be pretty savage about this. But let's just say I posted that listening to this interview was all I could hear when the interviewer asked her. She does this whole long roundabout way, like this ring around the rosy, Red Rover, like this whole convoluted way of. And she's obviously a leftist, like it's so clear, I don't know if she was like formally let go from Teen Vogue, but it's that kind. And she's basically saying that, how Trump endorsed it. And she asked this whole weird way of like, how did you feel that the president, someone in such power, guys, I don't even know, honestly. I'm sorry. I can't, I was depleted of brain cells because I want my reparations, actually, GQ, and partially Sydney Sweeney for my loss of brain cells watching this clip. Anyways, she asked Sydney Sweeney, like, what did that feel like to have such like powerful, the powers that be back you and all this and this and this, basically baiting her to, she obviously, the reason it's going viral is because she tried to bait her to talk about how the ad was like white nationalists and eugenics and white people shouldn't be talking about this and da-da-da-da-da, right? But this part in particular, when she asked about Trump and all those backing her, and Sydney Sweeney is like gasping for us, like literally reaching, okay? Like Rose reaching for Jack in the shambles of the Titanic and frozen waters, like reaching for a thought to be had on this question. I was just like, girl, spit it out. Like Billy Madison, today, Junior. I'm like, girl, what is the tea? Like, how many hits to the head filming the Christie movie? Which I heard she gave a spectacular performance, by the way, but that shit's a rental for me. Anyways, all I could hear watching that interview was the AOL dial-up, trying to connect, like trying so hard to connect to make a thought. And one of my followers said, all I hear is, remember the Snoopy teacher, the Charlie Brown teacher, like fucking hilarious. But all of that to say, whether it was really good PR planning with Sydney Sweeney and her team, who's loving her right now, or it's just really not giving a fuck and being secure, or it's just some short circuiting going on up there. I don't know. Don't at me. Okay. But apparently I read an article though, about her today. And apparently she wrote like a 5-year business plan about why it made sense for her to be an actress for her parents at like 12 or something. Either way, if she is like an undercover Einstein prodigy or not, it's so funny to me. Again, this guy's is the total turn of the tide, right? And the pendulum swing from the quite unbearable, control of leftist media, narratives, politics for the last handful of, what do you want to say? 7, 8-ish years until recently. That conservatives, merely because Sydney Sweeney didn't apologize for the American Eagle ad or for being hot and white or for being like, no, white people shouldn't speak up about that or whatever. All she says is like, I did a jean ads. It's not that deep. I love jeans. When I have something to say, you'll know, about something substantive. But forget the Robert E. Lees of it all. Hell, forget the Jeffersons, forget the Washingtons. The conservatives are erecting a statue in this woman's honor merely for not caving to this biased journalist, right? And it's just so entertaining to me because it's like it's not that big of a deal. Like again, it's not that deep. Like it is an ads gene, a jeans ad. Hot people have been selling shit from the beginning of time. Okay. Although John Adams, as we discussed, he did it merely on the American dream, guys. Like, I don't know if looks was in his favor. He didn't even think looks were in his favor, but it's just so funny how something so small and basic is now this like national movement. Like I have seen memes, I have seen this, I have seen that. And again, you guys know I did a Substack about this, how conservatives have like, a serious case of amnesia because Sydney Sweeney is so sexualized. And if it weren't for her politics, they would literally like ream her out on the daily for like basically being naked on the red carpet and being so hot and voluptuous and sexual and feminine. I will give it though to Megyn Kelly, who has kind of put her amnesia at bay because she went from completely like degrading Sydney Sweeney, but then once she learned of her politics in the American Eagle ad, jumped on the bandwagon, and she was like, this is a real woman, hot and gorgeous. But she went back to her conservative shit with Sydney Sweeney's see-through braless carpet outfit recently and saying like, I think it was too much, whatever. So I was like, Megan, even though it's giving Puritan, I got to give it to you for at least being a little less schizophrenic than the other conservatives. So, that just goes to show how, you can only keep a bitch down so much. And by a bitch, I mean the common sense thinking folk like you and me. Because next thing you know, a basic interaction about a jeans ad is going to be the next amendment, okay? Somewhere, what is it? No, the 28th Amendment. And, Teen Vogue is just going to be in the depths of nowhere, actually. Like, I don't they're going to be just blown into smithereens that don't exist. So, it just goes to show. Now, when it comes to, though, the Great Divide, what do we do? What's going to happen? Again, this is kind of what I got at earlier, where picking your battles, getting in the fight, having someone hold your earrings, or going, I'm going to let all you kids like sort this out on the playground, and I'm going to be over here like a grown adult. You know what I mean? So the first thing that is so entertaining is the conservative civil war. And it's everywhere. And it is. It like Andy Cohen, you thought with the Housewives, this is like the Housewives of Alex Jones' nightmare or something. I don't even know. Like, it is so unhinged. You have basically, if you're not following it, you have what people are saying are the far, far right. And now they're all kind of coagulating in this little camp. It's like Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, and Candace Owens versus everybody else. So in that, and like, let's be real, the only one of the three that I've met is Tucker. And I really do think it was so brief when I met Tucker, but I've been following him a long time. I really do think that Tucker actually means what he says. I think the other two are just like the grifting prom king and queen of the universe. But what they do have in common is they say really obscure, outlandish shit, piss people off, super soundbitey, and they hate Jews. Basically in Israel. Like, did I miss anything? Anybody in class? Which is what's so crazy, right? Because they all like, it's crazy that hate for Jews is it's actually not. Why am I surprised? Even Dave Portnoy speaking out, being like, yeah, so this isn't normal. Like, the amount of like basically hate I'm getting for being a Jew on the daily, like, Mom Donnie, explain yourself. But Mom Donnie's like, what? Nothing to see here. What, 9/11? No, guys, no. What? Good people on both sides, right? But how the three of them, they have such different ideologies. I mean, even like when you take marriage, right? Like, Candace and Tucker are in very traditional Christian marriages. And from my understanding, and just again from following them and observing them, it seems like they have a very mutual adoration and respect between man and wife. Tucker obviously loving and respecting his wife. I think Candace Owens' husband with her, that kind of thing, like really a partnership and a team, where Nick Fuentes is like, women should shut the fuck up. Don't, like, very kind of Andrew Tate, like this, we're going to get to it, but this little boy thing of like being so insecure that it's like you have to assert yourself as a big bad man over a woman. It's like, who hurt you, sweetie? Who hurt you? You can get, if you need a hug, talk to me. Taylor is here. Okay. So that kind of thing doesn't seem like it gels with them. Even that example, right? They're all very, America first and nationalists, like very much so. So, but and it's okay. Like I've said, you can have your disagreements and still be cool and still be chill. That's why when the conservatives were losing their minds, that Tucker platform, Nick Fuentes, I was like, what happened? You guys were supposed to be against like woke cancel culture and all about free speech. Who cares? What's funny? It's sort of similar to the dudes who are so insecure. It's like conservatives, if you're that insecure about your ideas that you think someone like a Nick Fuentes is going to dethrone you, like we have bigger fish to fry. But it's like if you're secure and you have that big dick energy and you're like, no, we're good in our ideas, like we're convicted and we're standing in them. What do you care about a little dweeb like Nick Fuentes, right? Like what does that have on you? So all of that to say, it is, and it's like be about it, like walk the walk, and God forbid, no one's saying that Nick Fuentes has to represent all of you guys. And it's like he has his speech, he has his platform, he has every right to it. Okay, have bigger, louder, stronger speech, like not hard. But yes, how they all do come together in ways that I'm sure the simps on the internet come to their ideas about basically just like ragging on Jews. But what you have here is, because it's also crazy because Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes had a big feud, and now Nick's like, it's all cool. And now they're kind of like coming together, right? And we know that this is undercover actually, but not so much because they could give a fuck. Why? In their agreement about that very idea. Like Jews suck, they're evil, they're running everything, and Israel can get fucked and fuck off and all that. You get it. So we'll see. Mark my words, like they will be braiding each other's hair in 5 seconds. And no, that wasn't a racial thing about Candace and braiding her hair because she's Black, okay? Hotep and I, we sorted all that out in our rep last week, as you know. No, but so you have Alex Clark, who is a huge host of Turning Point. Like basically at Turning Point USA, she hosts the Culture Apothecary. Charlie Kirk was like her mentor, and the reason that she blew up. But she is putting Candace Owens on absolute blast and poking holes through all the reasons Candace Owens has grifted on the Charlie Kirk death, has lied, has insinuated all these crazy conspiracies. And I've said this too from the jump around Charlie Kirk's death, namely by those in his closest orbit and circle, like that, like just what she does with Israel too, like the gaslighting, like all these sinister, dark, ominous things. But it's like, well, no, I never said that, So Alex Clark calling her out like line by line, which is iconic. Then you have Brett Cooper, she left Daily Wire. She's the very popular, very young. I've met Brett. I met her last year, I think. Very sweet. 23. She's a baby. Host of the Comments Section, which is a very popular show. She and Ted Cruz going at it. And this is a good example too, guys, of what happens when the pendulum swings so hard that it is like that pirate ship ride at the carnival. But this shit, like there was a loose screw. There was probably a DEI hire on that construction site and the ship just straight up goes upside down on accident. Like that's what I'm talking about with this swing. Because basically what Brett Cooper is doing is it's a version of what I said in that conservatives are canceling and becoming a version of the left in that. But she calls Ted Cruz out for calling Nick Fuentes a Nazi and basically saying essentially saying you're going to be like the left now and just call everyone a Nazi and all this and all that. And the thing with Ted Cruz, though, is he's like, okay, but Nick Fuentes like calls himself a Nazi and says that he loves Hitler. So like there's that little part. The problem with, I get what Brett Cooper is doing, but the problem with it is that there is, again, it's such a swing that it's like we're so anti-cancel culture because we've been at the brunt of it and have been persecuted for so long that now we can't criticize or scrutinize or say anything because see, it'll be us doing it and it'll be cancel culture. And it's like, whoa. So it's like, it's not that simple. Like you can still call someone out or, whatever, disagree or this or that. And it's not necessarily the cancel culture, like Gina Carano level or somebody like losing their agency or their jobs or their sponsorships or whatever brand deals. You know what I mean? So that's where, again, it's just gone a little hard. And like I said, basically the rest of it is the most majority of conservatives or the MAGA folk, if you will, versus this likely but unlikely trifecta of Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, and Nick Fuentes. And I think too, with Nick and Candace, like I was saying before, I think Tucker really, I mean, Tucker has a street cred for decades of questioning, of kind of saying loony stuff, or really kind of airing stuff out with leaders around the world, for years. With Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, I really do want to, that's why I would love to speak with one of them, like how much of it is just to get a rise out of people for viewerships. I read a really interesting piece too about how the algorithm rewards you for staying on your narrative. But if you say something that maybe that's why I'm just getting lost in the depths of SEO hell, because I won't be confined to a box or pander to a certain thing. I change, I evolve. I can say both things can be true at the same time. But you'll lose viewership if you throw a wrench in of something that's contradictory to your prior narratives, right? So I do think that those two are just like, it's the art of the grift, full stop. And again, even Alex Clark calling out Candace Owens is a perfect example of that. I mean, we all saw it. Like, anyone with a brain is like, this is just marketing 101, grifting on Charlie Kirk's death. And Candace Owens was putting on this whole song and dance about how she was mourning and she was so distraught and she couldn't do any interviews. But how dare the people at Turning Point, they're all like conspiring and covering up and all this, only for us to find out that she did an interview with CNN like 2 days prior, like in that window. And meanwhile, Alex Clark, who she called out for being icky and all this, waited to do a piece that honored Charlie Kirk in the Wall Street Journal like a week later or something. So, and then we also saw the email in which Candace Owens' team approved of CNN asking about Charlie Kirk. And Candace said, like, I never said that was okay. So just again, like all these lies and the people who believe it. So I guess that's what brings me to what's going on with men, guys. Oh my goodness, right? And do they actually believe this? And do they believe what they say? Like the Candace Owens and all the people who believe them. So, it's been quite a journey down this path, because you all know I have not backed down in advocating for men, but moreover, not these like pussy, no, like for men to be good, strong, solid men. And with male impulses, it's cool. You want to check out a girl with hot tits? Okay, it's all right. Or be like assertive or aggressive or whatever it is. Not too good, you know what I'm saying? But like, yes, for men to be men. And I did it when it was unpopular, and I did it in Hollywood, and I did it when I was a red carpet reporter, and I did it on the heels of Me Too at red carpets and events when men were like deemed, the reason for all evil and suffering in the world. And there were all these female events of like women and their voices. I asked the people on the red carpet, I was like, where are the men? Shouldn't they be the ones hearing this? So needless to say, I mean, guys, I defended Morgan Freeman when people tried to throw him under the bus for Me Tooing me. And by people, I mean like actual big outlets in the media. I defended Dave Portnoy and had him on my show. Same thing when Business Insider was doing hit pieces on him on cases where they were trying to make him out to be a Harvey Weinstein. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's obviously not what happened here. So needless to say, that is where I stand, okay? And I have seen now three times a charm, the crawling out of the sewers of their gaming headphones in some rotting Stranger Things upside down basement of the incels. First was 2 years ago when I talked about Andrew Tate on my show. I don't know how their followers are so committed. And there's part of me that's like, no, they have to be bots, right, guys? They're bots. They're bots, right? How are they even finding this shit? And they defend these guys like to the death. I'm like, do you think Andrew Tate gives a fuck about you? Okay, so Andrew Tate, then last year when I was on the Whatever podcast and went toe to toe with them, how could we forget? And now speaking up about Nick Fuentes. And specifically when Hotep Jesus and I were joking about him having little dick energy, thus being so insecure about any minority group, being around Black people, women. He's like, all Black people need to go to jail. All women need to shut the fuck up, yada, yada, right? So I have gotten a slew of, again, how they find this. And they have this like slang. It's so weird and culty. They call Nick Fuentes the emperor, just like they called Andrew Tate, what was it? They called it, I forget, you guys may know. They called him something too, and they blew up my comments with it. But not only do they worship these guys like minions, but they're their brains are too dense. I don't even want to throw around hating words like stupid, even though I kind of just did. I'm not going to stoop to that level. Okay. But their brains are too dense to realize that when we say things like, it's giving little dick energy and all this, to not see what that really means and how it's a proxy to being so insecure that you can't even respect women as a counterpart and be just a good, again, solid, strong man. And again, it's like you're so weak and so fragile that, and again, this is one of those times where it's like they make me sound like a liberal, right? Which is so funny too, because in the comments are like, oh, every feminist liberal says this. I'm like, if you watch 1 ounce of my content, you would know. So that's first off. But again, like I said earlier, this sort of thing of like, if you respect a woman as your equal, like you're lesser than. It's like, it's so backwards, but they really believe this. It's like, you're weak. You're weak if you are equal to them or acknowledge or respect them. And it's like, yeah, it's this thing of just like that insecurity. It's like a bully, right? It's like a bully who's so hurt people. And that idea of, just why, like, and that's the whole thing of like, when I joke, like he's never gotten laid or the baby dick, it's not really about that. It's like being so rejected or scared or threatened on some level that you have to act like that. And that's what's baby dick. But they don't get that. And they see it so literally that they will literally psychobabble into oblivion and gaslight, okay, until the cows come home, right? You wouldn't even believe. One of them was like, well, Isaac Newton died a virgin and he was a genius, okay? Or like there was one that said, at least he's not Nick Fuentes. He just speaks the truth. And at least he's not talking shit on you people being blacks and women. At least he's not talking shit about you, like, or at least he is like openly like that actually has balls. Like a loser would just like say it behind your back or not at all. And I'm like, that's balls would be not even doing it or thinking it because you have balls and you're not threatened by other people. Like the fuck, just like conservatives shouldn't be threatened by Nick Fuentes because who like what? Like, honestly, guys, be real. So that's what is so crazy. Is like they've contorted their brains and have done this like mental jujitsu to not just be like women are stupid and shut up, but to talk themselves into it with these like random, obscure ass backwards examples. And listen, if you're making fun of my background, this background sucks ass, okay? Hey guys, I see you in the comments. It looks like insane asylum, which is where we all need to be right now. Yeah, that's what's so crazy. So, like I said, okay, so this is and there's a part of me going, why am I like, these are not the men in my life. Like, think about, hopefully, if you had good ones, like your boyfriend, your husband, your dad, your grandpa. I had the best of the absolute best. I'm so lucky. But there's a part of me that's going like, why am I entertaining? Why am I even like engaging with these little boys? Right? Like, why? Because that's what I talked about at the very jump of this is when same thing with like the Candace Owens look with the broken conservatives and their whole little petty wars. I'm at the point I finally stopped listening to Candace Owens because I was like, I can't like have any more. I need to have somewhat of my sanity intact. But it's kind of like that's an example to me, at least, where everyone's tweeting, everyone's all worked up, and that's where it's like, y'all, you got to have a little separation from the internet and reality and just watch these kids, punch it out on the playground while you're up here just watching it all happen. Like, okay, guys, you do that. Again, like I said, there's sort of like a swag about that and a confidence, which I really like. And when you pick your battle, so even like with these boys on the internet, again, I don't see it in my day to day. I don't surround myself with people, but it makes me think too, like when you're out in public, the same thing could go for like a mass shooter. Like they look normal, but do they think like this? Like now it has me second guessing. So this is where I'm torn between going in the ring with these toddlers or just kind of sitting it out. And again, same thing, like letting it sort itself out and just being unbothered by it. But I asked today on social media, again, I've seen this now play out as somebody who's advocated for them. Okay. But because they don't agree on every level or whatever, they're so insecure, they need to put you down even more, or try to, these little baby bitches. These, what is going on with these boys, and who is raising them, more importantly? Because look, I've spent the last 10 years of my career ragging on the media for their narratives, for groupthink, how delusional they are. But there's a part of me that's going, okay, you can only blame the media so much. And then or the internet for that matter. And I had someone write to me and say, and he's been a longtime viewer, he said, who raises these boys the internet, meme culture, and podcast hosts who overcompensate for their insecurities. There's a whole new generation of Tate Fuentes bros on the way up now. It's devastating. Totally agree. And then I said I had that thought, but again, to what end? Like, the parent has to see this happening, right? I'm not a parent yet, but like, the fuck. He says the internet is only what we make it. It's too big and powerful to contain at this point. I'm sure some parents know, but they are clueless. So I don't really have a definitive answer for you other than, again, what to you is worth the fight. Like, to me, I don't even know what to say. Like, incoherent and misguided articles on Teen Vogue, or petty culture war fights amongst conservatives. Like, to me, again, it's like, okay, little kids, like, you sort it out. It's not worth it. But if this is these are not bots, these are actual boys who are going to be roaming amongst us on this planet, in this world, there is a part of me that's going, it's a little alarming. So, how you discern on when to step in, step out, because you can't take everyone. But I will say this, I want to leave it with a little, actually, kudos to this woman. Okay, Evelyn Beatrice Hall, because I want to leave it with this quote that is attributed to Voltaire, but was actually written by Evelyn, his biographer, which was, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. So let that be the guiding principle. Like, just let it be. Why? Because Talk to Me Taylor said so. The end all be all, the rule of the land, okay? In this Titty Taylor tyranny. I don't know what else to say, but no, always have that as like, okay, to each their own. You're going to think that nobody should be deplatformed. Nobody should be like, it's all good. Your views just be bigger, stronger, louder. And again, guys, really think about how to pick your battles and which one, and just know that battling for the blonde and the boobs is here to stay. Nothing to end a somewhat serious episode on that thought. But yeah, seriously, pick your battles wisely, because you can't do them all, and then you'll just be tired, and we can't be having tired soldiers, soldier. So armor up, saddle up, and let's go and make it worth it and make it count. See you on Thursday.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you undetected.
Random, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares. I too am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me